This is Ashley, and this is School and Life, a weekly podcast about life, love, and occasionally libations. If you're new here, make sure you're following us on Instagram at School and Life Podcast. That's at SCHOOLIN Life Podcast on Instagram, and on Facebook at School and Life Pod. That's facebook.com/School and Life Pod. Do not miss the opportunity to connect with us on social. This week in Mentor Moment, I wanted to share that I can finally introduce Mentor Me Live. That's right. Mentor Me Live is taking all of the strategies that I've used to build Mentor Me, a high achieving professional development company for women, into a 2-day live event, a weekend full of women coming together to advance their career in meaningful ways. Mentor Me Live will take place March 2022 in Washington, D.C. And if any of this sounds like you, then you absolutely need to be in the room. If you are a professional woman who works in corporate, nonprofit, or educational leadership, you need to be in the room. If you are a professional woman who currently feels overworked and underpaid and know that you need at minimum of a $15,000 salary increase to advance your career, you need to be in the room. If you're a woman who finds yourself often settling in your career with it is what it is mentality, you need to be in the room. If you're a professional woman who finds yourself prioritizing everything but your career development, you need to be in the room. If you're a professional woman who's leveraging outdated practices that don't work anymore in your career, or if you think that going back to school is the quickest path to advancing your career, then you need to be in the room. If you've watched your age go up, but your salary isn't, then you need to be in the room. If you've remained stagnant in your career for years and you've not taken action to make more money and have more impact, you need to be in the room. And if you find yourself settling at a job because of a false sense of security and gratitude, when you know that you actually can be thankful for what you have and want more at the same time, then you need to be in the room. It's time to say goodbye. It's time to say goodbye to any outdated or ill-advised or any even mindset things that have you thinking that you can't advance your career in the ways that you desire, and welcome in the truth. And the truth is that you can use what you have to get what you want in your career. And I can teach you how at Mentor Me Live. You can join the waitlist to get first dibs on access to Mentor Me Live at my website at mentormelive.org. That's MENTOR melive.org. Join the waitlist today. So this week in I Digress, I wanted to talk about the power of mentorship, and I wanted to talk about it by the numbers. I think that if you are a listener of School and Life podcast, and if you've been following me in my career, particularly over the last 5 years or so, you know that I believe in mentorship. We've had several episodes about the power and importance of mentorship on the podcast. Over the last 2 years, I've built Mentor Me as a business to really extend that power to professional women, Black women in particular, in corporate, nonprofit, and educational leadership, to really help them advance their careers in the ways that they desire. And I talk about the results of my mentees. I talk about how I'm able to help them be more impactful in their lives and careers, to finally relocate, to finally have some freedom and flexibility in their jobs and in their lived experiences. And so I know that the power of mentorship is real, but I think sometimes we can sort of get caught up in either reasons why we don't need it or reasons why it won't work for us, right? Like we often will just sort of say that's not for me, or I can't do that, that's not available to me. And I just want to share with you that it absolutely is. And I want to talk about the numbers. I want to talk about the data. Obviously I can tell you all day that it'll work for you and how you can leverage it. But I think that I have a PhD, right, in educational leadership. I believe in statistics. I believe in data. I like to see the hard facts. So here's some hard facts, some flat out data about what the power of mentorship from verified sources. And I'm excited to share this with you because not only is it data from verified sources, but it's been the lived experience of my mentees. Like I've seen this be true for the professional women that I work with as a mentor. So data point number one, women are 54% less likely to advocate for themselves in negotiations and performance reviews, even when they know they add tremendous value to their organization. And this is actually from an article that Forbes did in 2020. So it's not that women don't know how to advocate for themselves sometimes, or even that they don't want to advocate for themselves. It's that they don't advocate for themselves. And even when they know they're adding tremendous value to their organizations, even when they're doing meaningful work, even when they are bringing in sales, bringing in new clients, bringing in new customers, bringing in new contracts, like even when women are doing the work, they often do not advocate for themselves in the workplace. And some of that is because they may work in a workplace that is full of shame and embarrassment, and they just don't feel empowered or like they're capable of advancing their careers in any meaningful way or advocating for themselves at work. And sometimes it's because they don't know how, they don't know what to say, they don't know how to manage up, they don't know how to lead from where they are. And so they find themselves kind of putting their head down, hoping, no one notices, sort of getting beat up at work every day and being wildly disrespected and disregarded in their work because they aren't advocating for themselves. And then when you're not advocating for yourselves at work and you're not advocating for yourself in negotiations or performance reviews, then you aren't seeing the raises, the salary increases, the bonuses that your counterparts, right, our male counterparts are seeing. Next up is, with only 6% of Fortune 500 companies being led by women and even fewer being led by women of color, it's critical that women have mentorship that's customized for them to increase representation of women to higher levels of leadership. This is from Fortune Magazine 2021. And it's so frustrating to see that women, while we make up the majority, if we're just focused on the binary, so if we're just focused on women and men, women make up more, women and women identified people make up more people like in the world, right, than men, but only 6% of the largest and most impactful companies in the United States are led by women. And even fewer, I think it's maybe literally like you can count them on one hand, of Fortune 500 companies being led by women of color. And mentorship is a really powerful tool to help women leverage their expertise and position them to higher levels of leadership, because often women don't even know or realize that those opportunities are for them, and they fall prey to the systematic barriers that exist. And so having someone who can help you navigate those systemic and systematic barriers, having someone who can help point out for you where those gaps are and what you need to do to overcome them is really critical, and mentorship provides that. Next up, 76% of people view mentors as important to their overall success. Those with mentors receive higher compensation, a greater number of promotions, have felt more satisfied and committed to their career, and were more likely to believe they would advance. And this is from Forbes 2022. And what's great about these verified sources is that they're polling people all over the country, particularly in the United States, right? They're polling people all over the country, and they're asking them, what's the power of mentorship? How has it been impactful for you? What does it meant for you to have a mentor? And not only how has it helped your overall success, but people who have mentors receive higher compensation, have a greater number of promotions, have felt more satisfied and committed to their career. It's not just about the money, but it's also about the fact that they feel satisfied and committed to their career. They don't feel, what I talked about earlier, like they don't have an is what it is mentality. They are committed to their career. They do feel supported in their career. And that is important. Like that is impactful, and just another notch in the belt of mentorship, right? In this impact. And specifically as it relates to Mentor Me, one data point that I'm really proud to share is that in the 2 years since I've launched Mentor Me, I've helped women earn more than $500,000 in raises and salary increases. And that's based on my testimonials over the last 2 years. You can go to my website at mentor-me.org/success stories, and you can see the success stories, the $1,000 plus, like that $500,000 milestone, right? Like my mentees have secured that. And you can see that in the testimonials that they've shared on my website and even others that I have posted elsewhere. So it really is, mentorship is really impactful. And it's important that you are investing in yourself, investing in your career development and leveraging mentors to make more money and have more impact in your career, because flat out, these numbers don't lie. And I invite you to apply to attend Mentor Me Live to position yourself to make more money and have more impact in your career through this amazing event. You can join the waitlist for Mentor Me Live and be the first to have access to attend at mentormelive.org. That's MENTOR melive.org. And I digress. And last but not least, this week is TVT. And this week, I want to shout out Olivia Benson for managing up and bossing up at work. It's been amazing to see her navigate her relationship with the new chief, district deputy chief. I think that's the title. But the former chief was a Black man, got pushed out basically by the, good old boys. And he was never good enough. He was never really committed. He was never good enough. He was never doing the right things according to the higher ups. And so they basically pushed him out. And now she has an interim boss. And it's clear that he is very much good old boys, very much quote unquote by the book, not really intentional about serving all victims, not treating everyone the same, definitely is problematic, right? In a lot of ways. And Olivia was kind of going along to getting along and kind of like challenging a little bit here and there, but was towing the line, right? Like very much like, I don't like this. I'm trying my best, but she was not invested in the relationship. And at the end of a most recent episode, she went in and quite frankly went off on him. And this is not a strat. Like, let me be clear that this is not a proven mentor me strategy. You should not be going off on your boss. But the way in which she did it, her approach when it came to just really saying, like, setting really clear expectations, like, here's what you can expect of me. Here's how I will show up at work. Here's how I will serve. We will not engage one another like this. We will engage one another like this. This part is my job. I have a clear understanding of my job, and I won't let you get in the way of me doing my job. And if you have a problem with that, then you can fire me right now. Like, flat out. She was like, you can take my gun and my badge and we can be done with this whole thing. And I just thought that was really powerful because, again, I'm not suggesting that you have a standoff with your boss in their office, but I do. One of the key cornerstones of Mentor Me is managing up. And in both of my programs, I teach my mentees, and at Mentor Me Live, I'll be teaching mentees how to manage up, how to lead from where you are, how to advocate for yourself in a really meaningful way. And a big part of managing up is setting really clear expectations. Now, we want to avoid doing it in a hostile way with guns on our hips, but you do have to do it. And regardless if you work in police services or at the post office, you need to be able to advocate for yourself. You need to be able to manage up. You need to be able to lead from where you are, and you need to be able to leverage your authority. Right? Like, you need to be able to leverage your authority regardless of where you are and what you do. And that's what, Olivia was able to do. And it was really powerful to see. So if you haven't watched the latest episode of Law and Order SVU, then definitely check that out. I don't think I shared any spoilers really, because you probably see it coming, but definitely check that out. And let me know if you've ever had to manage up, if you want to learn more about managing up strategies, or if you just need some support in managing up. Feel free to hop in my DMs and let me know. Like I said, I'll be teaching this at Mentor Me Live, and I'm excited to share these strategies so that you can really challenge the way that you interact with your boss and your supervisor and even your colleagues and coworkers by setting really clear expectations going forward in your career. That wraps up this week's episode of School on Life. Thanks so much for listening, and be sure to join the waitlist for Mentor Me Live so you can have first access when there's an opportunity to sign up to attend. You can join the waitlist right on my website at mentormelive.org. That's mentormelive.org, and I'm looking forward to seeing you there. School's out. Class dismissed.